So, you're familiar with Curse of Darkness, I take it?
Yeah, when the game first came out, I wrote the first walkthrough for it on Game FAQs.
Oh, so you're an expert at it then?
Well, I don't know about expert, but I consider myself pretty knowledgeable about the game.
Well, what do you think you can say that hasn't already been said about the game?
A lot, I guess, considering there's not that many reviews for it. Castlevania Curse of Darkness reuses the same game engine as Lament of Innocence, though it has a couple improvements such as better inventory menu and camera controls. The other major difference is how incredibly larger the world is, and this leads us to our first stumbling block. The biggest complaint people have about the game is the heavy use of copy and paste environments. I can understand why the developers did this. When making an expansive world, you need to reuse textures and models a lot in order to keep the game file size small. You see this in massively multiplayer online RPGs a lot. The thing is, there are level design tricks to make areas not look as repetitive, and the game would probably be easier for people to navigate if more of these tricks were used. As for the sound design, Curse of Darkness features a lot of original music, and not as many classical Castlevania tunes as you'd expect, which is really disappointing to me. Some fans disagree, but I think remixes and arrangements of the classic soundtrack really adds flavor to the game, and has become part of the brand identity. That said, Curse of Darkness does have a great soundtrack, but I was disappointed to not hear Heart of Fire, Bloody Tears, and Tragic Prince. Back on the subject of gameplay, the biggest change to the combat system is Innocent Devils. Innocent Devils are basically a souped-up version of Alucard's familiars from Symphony of the Night. Unlike Alucard, Hector can't directly use magic during gameplay, but by commanding Innocent Devils, the player can use spells for attack and defense. I kind of like the system because ordering monsters to fight for you is pretty fun. But what I don't like is the advancement system for the devils. Basically, they evolve into stronger forms by collecting different colored crystals dropped by defeated enemies. The thing is, to make certain colors spawn, you have to be using certain weapons, and this turns the game into a huge grind fest. I think it's worth it in the end, but only if you know what you're doing. Some final evolution forms are simply more useful than others. Plot-wise, the story takes place shortly after Castlevania III and is considered a direct sequel. You play Hector, who apparently worked for Dracula as a Devil Forge Master. This is a new occupation never before discussed in the franchise, but the game explains that Devil Forge Masters use magic to craft devils and weapons for Dracula's army. Anyway, Hector is chasing after Isaac, another Devil Forge Master, because Isaac murdered Hector's lover. Hector had apparently betrayed Dracula during the events of Castlevania III, and Isaac wants revenge for Hector helping kill their master, or something. I don't know, the game never explains exactly what Hector did to betray Dracula. The manga says Hector refused to fight Trevor Belmont and ran away, but to me that sounds more like desertion than betrayal. Based on the things Isaac says, you'd have thought Hector staked Dracula himself. Anyway, I won't spoil the storyline, but I think this is one of the weaker plots in the franchise, mostly because of the introduction of the time traveler Saint Germain. Perhaps it's just me, but when time travel is suddenly entered into a franchise that traditionally is not about time travel, I get the feeling the writers didn't want to take the time to come up with a solid plot and are grasping for straws. The really sad thing? Saint Germain doesn't really do anything in the story besides let Hector know things are wrong. I'm pretty sure that Hector knows things are wrong without someone needing to tell him, so Saint Germain doesn't actually serve any purpose in the story at all. I'd like to go into further detail, but it'd ruin the plot of the game. The short of it is, I think the plot is sloppy primarily because of Saint Germain. He really has no business in the story at all. In closing, Curse of Darkness is a better 3D Castlevania than the 64 ones, but the plot leaves a lot to be desired. I did have a lot of fun with the game when it first came out, but I just keep feeling that Konami could have done better. Well, that's my review. The Halloween special is over. Can I have my clothes back?
The special is over when I say it's over.
Whoa!
Hero training time. Defend yourself!
Back, I say. Back!